What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Amoroud, and I'm quite excited about it because it is a vetiver fragrance that in the Holy Grail top 10, top 20 list of best vetivers out there, I see this one make the list with a lot of the collectors that we know and love. So strap up. We're going to have our SB synopsis.
Okay. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You were on time, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Today from the house of Amoroud, we have Lunar Vetiver. Now, I've got high hopes for this because I think it's going to offer us something that not a lot of vetivers have offered me yet. I'm excited to see what kind of interpretation of vetiver they decide to put in the fragrance, if it's vetiver forward, if it's more traditional, if it's innovative. Amoroud is a very good house. They make wonderful fragrances that are incredibly priced. So I have high hopes for this one. Now, I don't have the sprayer, so we are going to have to lube up the arm with this fragrance as well as dip the test strip in it. Kind of what I do in a lot of these scenarios is rather than pour it out, I just kind of bend my test strip on the skinny side. That way it'll actually go in. Dip it, get a good amount of it. We'll let that sit. And then I could use this little magic wand that comes with it, but I'll just generously kind of rub it topside down on the skin so we can see what the wearing experience is like. I like to make sure that there's a sheen there. I don't think you guys can see that, but trust me, I lubed it up. Let's see if we can get any, well, I guess before we get any information on it, let's see what my initial impressions are on the fragrance. So, Amoroud Lunar Vetiver. This might be the first Amoroud fragrance I've tried. Interesting. I know a lot of you guys are skeptical about vetiver out there, so I try to speak from two perspectives. One of the vetiver enthusiast, and then one of just the person who's skeptical about vetiver and hasn't quite found their fragrance yet. This has a dry, grassy, dry, woody experience to it, but very seemingly like green and aromatic. Feels somewhat reminiscent to Encre Noir à la Extreme. I'll be interested to see if other people agree with that on Fragrantica. It feels a little bit brighter and lighter, less resinous and ambery than à la Extreme, but definitely that dry, woody, embery kind of experience. And then definitely on skin, it gets this earthy sweetness. It even feels a bit earthy and smoky. Let's go ahead and switch screens here. It got a, oh shoot. I am so sorry, guys. We're going to keep that because it's late. I don't got time to run through all that again. My apologies for running that intro again. It got a 4.4 out of 5. So, I mean, that's mass appeal territory if I've ever seen it, but I don't know if it's mass appealing to the general public because it's only got 366 votes. So, limited amount of people trying this. I don't know if that's due to lack of information out there. People don't know it's out, or because a lot of people don't want to try it because it says vetiver in the name. This scent was inspired by the seduction of Nightfall. Perfumer such and such wanted to capture the ethereal glow that comes just as the sun and the moon share the sky in what he calls an olfactive dream. Using a unique couture species of patchouli harvested on the Indonesian island of Java as his foundation, I can sense some patchouli, very light and ashy. Jerome began to compose iridescent notes of bergamot, pimento. I definitely get some peppery, maybe that's that smokiness, is that pink peppercorn and pimento, to create a warm, bright glow he imagines radiating in the setting sun. So pepper up top, cactus flower, sage, and vanilla. Vetiver in the base, tobacco blossom. I wonder what the heck that smells like. Let's see. A hay and leather scent, dry floral tonality. See, people will see that hay. And not at all smelling like rich pipe tobacco or cigarette ash, but it's a dry floral hay-like. If it's a dry hay, I mean, that could probably smell like cigarette ash or pipe tobacco, like a blend of the two. Yeah, it is a dry, earthy, woody, slightly peppery experience. It's very classy. It's very classic, more traditional, but it's got a very modern finish to it. I do wish the vanilla was a little more prominent here. Let's check skin. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Okay, so this lasts forever and has quite a sillage to it. Reminds people of Grey Vetiver, really? Okay, so 86 upvotes, 64 downvotes. So a lot of people do feel that way, but they feel like the Parfum version seems more accurately proportional with this 24 to 5 vote. Sycamore, I can see that very much so, because Encre Noir a la Extreme is Sycamore in my eyes, but better. I'm landing somewhere between these two, Chanel Sycamore and Grey Vetiver Parfum. It's definitely not like Roja's Vetiver, even though it got high votes. Well, yeah, no, Vetiver is more champagne sparkly Vetiver. It's pretty Vetiver. This is more classy, older gentlemanly Vetiver. Guerlain. Okay, so people are just naming stuff now. This is getting kind of dumb. Ganymede, are you serious? Yeah, sometimes you gotta, man, it helps to smell a lot of fragrances, I'll tell you that, because some people can lead you astray. I'm leaning more towards Sycamore and a slight bit of instances on skin of Tom Ford's Parfum version of Grey Vetiver. It definitely, if you look right at Grey Vetiver, you know, it's that grapefruit experience, grapefruit orris, but, you know, it does have the pimento in the vetiver, the orange blossom, the sage. Let's see what the Parfum did. I think it's more mono note. Yeah, orange blossom, saffron, and Haitian vetiver. Interesting. Well, nonetheless, let's jump out and give you guys some usual suspect material. This is 30 and up vetiver. This is more of a traditional vetiver lover experience. I don't think if you're shy about vetiver, I don't think this is the one to get into. You might feel the sense of a smoky citric, a smoky peppery green, dry woody hay-like experience. Trust me, a lot of people can't get into Encre Noir a la Extreme. It just puts too much chest hair on them. I think this is easily 30 plus. This has a very rich man's classy golf fragrance-ness to it, or even just a man with a briefcase and a suit, or just really well put together, well groomed. This is old money in 2025. Like, the fragrance has a new modern polish on an old scent profile. Woody, peppery, very smooth peppery though, like subdued peppery. Woody, peppery, tiniest bit citric behind, but mostly about this kind of peppery woods experience with a touch of citrus and a touch of the tiniest sweetness, like 1 out of 10. It's a good scent. I mean, I would rock it, but would I pay for Lunar? I mean, I think, let's go back for half a second here, guys. I think this is very fairly priced, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so Jomas, so for 90 bucks, you get, I think it's 125 ml. What's a 3.4? I always miss the conversion. So 3.4 in ml. Okay, 100 ml. I was wrong. Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely fairly priced. You're getting your money's worth for sure. If you're a vetiver lover, I think you gotta get this, unless, actually, let me keep it a buck with you guys. I'm skipping through a lot of stuff here. Um, I think this can go any season, any reason. The tonality of it is super upscale, casual, semi-formal, and formal. Um, it could be a daily driver for an older gentleman that's like really well put together, or in the workplace. This is the finer things in life as you approach your 40 plus days. Ambitious young guys, I just don't think they can pull it off, even if you're in your late 20s, unless you're somebody who like lights incense and enjoys, candles and different stuff like that. You're into oils, you're just kind of interesting of a guy. Yeah, you could rock this, but I'm gonna keep it so real. 90 is a great price for 100 ml, but after smelling this, I do think you're better off getting the more mass appealing vetiver in the form of gray vetiver EDP from Tom Ford. It's just more modern than this. But if you want something more traditional like this, I would just go down and pay the 25 to 30 bucks for Encre Noir a la Extreme, because you can get like 90% close to this scent profile. I do feel like Encre Noir a la Extreme is a little bit more warm and resinous, and this is more dry aromatic. But, so this wears more clean cut, but just spray less of Encre Noir a la Extreme and you have this. Or again, maybe Grey Vetiver Parfum, but I think that's going to cost you an arm and a leg still these days. I'm leaning towards, if you want, 80 to 85% close to this profile, but something more mass appealing, you go to Tom Ford Grey Vetiver EDP, which I do have. But if you want something as close as possible to that scent profile, then, save yourself a lot of money and go down, spend the 25, 30 to Encre Noir a la Extreme. I do think Sycamore is somewhat better than this fragrance, because as this dries down, it feels a little more juvenile than Sycamore. This is kind of a hybrid between traditional handling of vetiver and modern. Like, it's trying to creep into that hybrid category, whereas like Sycamore just feels like it's all in on traditional and still captures that clean, airy dryness. But it's a solid fragrance. As a fragrance, I give it, man, as a vetiver fragrance, I give it an 8. I think most people would probably give this a 7. Unless you're a vetiver lover. If you're a vetiver lover, I think you would give this a 8, a high 8 at best. Good daily driver vetiver, but because this is like a personal choice vetiver type of experience, I don't really think you can give it a 9. It's just not doing very much else. It's a little too classic for my taste. But if you're always somebody who's apprehensive about vetiver, you probably give something like this a 6, maybe even a 5, just because you don't understand something like this. I would even be interested in maybe throwing some vanilla next to this, like a must therapy layering to try and modernize this a bit more. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns and give it an 8 out of 10, a low 8. I gave you guys the alternatives, the age case. I don't think it's a unisex fragrance. This has to be masculine. Let me just double check. It does say men and women. Women, I just don't see it, women. You might be into vetiver. I've seen some women really appreciate Encre Noir, the original, but those chicks tend to be more gothic, stylistically at least. What other vetivers do I find women enjoying? There are some women, for instance, who really love Chanel and like the smell of Sycamore. I don't necessarily know if they wear Sycamore, but they love the scent profile. I think Mitra might have Sycamore, but I don't know if she really wears it. But yeah, women do rock vetiver. It's just, I find it's more of the interesting kind of not typical woman that wears this, the woman that's more kind of inward and, a bit artsy, a bit different. It's definitely not a massive. For the general public of women, I think you stay away from this fragrance and Sycamore and Acre Noir a la Extreme. It's very specific type of woman who would even dare to wear that because it's very aggressive. It's very woody. Yeah, I think I mentioned everything that you guys need to know about this fragrance. I respect it. It's just, I don't feel like it's offering anything new to the marketplace today. It was launched in 2018, so fairly recently, about 7 years ago. And I think this just kind of built off the backbone. It's a connoisseur type of fragrance. As you can see, only 366 people have voted on it. Probably more people bought it, but just didn't feel like voting on it. But the people that do love it really love it. So I just think it imitates Sycamore and a la Extreme so closely that they're all virtually the same fragrance in one way or another with 5 to 10% of nuance. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. I do drop content all the time. So if you're into fragrances of all price points and walks of life, we cover everything on this channel. Again, if you're interested in my reviews, I'm going to link you to a couple of popular videos on my channel. So definitely stick around. It's good content for the car or the gym, or if you're just sitting around at night like me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was Amoroud's. That's all one word. And we were reviewing Lunar Vetiver, and it got a 8 out of 10 for me. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. Until next time, stay tuned.